Yeah. Woo! The victory horns are back, ladies and gentlemen. Do you hear them? Do you hear the horns of blowing? They blow for Roman Dolidze. He gets his revenge, taking a unanimous decision victory over Marvin Vettori at UFC Vegas 104. Woo! The fights are over. Frankly, a little earlier than I thought. I thought we'd be doing this show around 11, so credit to everybody else who got finishes since the main event didn't doing that. But now we're here to talk about it for the UFC Vegas 104 post show. And hello, everybody. My name is Meshew. I will be your host this evening because Mike Heck wisely decided to take this weekend off to go do some other things, apple picking or what have you. So he missed the great rambunctiousness that was the Marvin Vettori Roman Dolidze rematch, and frankly, a pretty decent little card. Meaningless. Utterly meaningless, the rest of these fights. But 9 finishes. Pretty good watch if you were there. And so we're here to talk all about it. And joining me today, 2 esteemed members of the MMA fighting team. You know him, you love him from his on-site reporting. He is the workhorse of MMAfighting.com. And I would argue the most handsome man in MMA at this point in time, Mr. José Youngs. How are we doing, Jose?
This point, who would be in point in time, as in like past, present, and future? Who would be past? I'll take the crown right now.
There was like a stretch there where Akamoto, was certainly competing.
No, he's a handsome boy. That's true.
He's not an ugly man, but
no,
getting a little older. You're aging like a fine wine, Jose.
As they say. Yeah, no, he's a handsome boy. Yeah, I'll give it to Brett. Yeah, he can have the crown. But I took it from him. Just like Marvin Vettori, just like Roman Dolidze took Marvin Vettori's crown of good top 11 middleweight, whatever he's ranking as.
I believe Marvin Vettori in the UFC rankings. Let me pull those up because I was looking at this earlier and was shocked by how high. That's right. He is number 8, which means Roman Dolidze will be moving to the number 8 spot on Tuesday, almost assuredly. And, good on him. He avenged that one loss. Also joining us before we dive into this, of course, you know who it is the baddest producer in MMA, baddest stash in the game, Mr. 3024 himself. No sleeves, no mercy. Casey Leiden.
Hi.
Man, right. There are no sleeves at all. No mercy this evening.
Let's do this. All right. Talk fights, gentlemen.
Let's talk fights. We will come back to Casey later, and at the end, we'll obviously do questions. And let's be real, we're not going to go for 3 hours tonight because this was UFC Vegas 104. And
okay,
as fun as it was, because it was a pretty decent card, Jose, I think we can all acknowledge that this is probably the last time any of us will ever speak about this card. And So let's dive into the main event, because it was a main event that I had a lot of fun laughing about this week, because Marvin Vettori famously was like, I did not know I was fighting Roman Dolidze. I thought I was fighting the other guy named Roman. And unfortunately, that didn't work out for him as his first fight back in almost 2 years. Very similar to their first go around, except for Roman Dolidze manages to sort of set a clear distance from himself in this one. The extra 10 minutes did not help Vettori at all. Dolidze swept the final 2 rounds, 49-46s across all the scorecards. I guess let's just start here, Jose. How are you feeling about Roman Dolidze's performance, and sort of do you rethink his abilities in the middleweight division based on getting this win back?
It's an interesting question to present. I don't think so, because I don't think so. That's my answer, I guess. Because this fight happens. You could have told me it didn't happen. I'd be like, yeah, they already fought. I also was at their first fight. Don't remember it. That was in London. I flew all the way to London, England to watch that fight. Obviously not that fight specifically, but don't remember that fight whatsoever. But I do remember when they were showing the highlights, I was like, oh, yeah. I think did Roman win this? Was it a controversy? And then I went back to look, and all the tweets were like, that fight, Roman probably won, but I don't care enough to really argue because that fight was kind of a nothing burger. So this felt like rounds 4 through 8 rather than a whole new fight. It was just a continuation of their last fight, which is fine. Roman Dolidze won, did a lot of fouls, as Mike Heck says, keep fouling because nothing's going to happen to you. This is, God, they're probably going to fight again at some point and have mercy on all of our.
Well, we have to.
We have to, right?
It's 1-1.
Yeah, the first fight was in London. The second fight was in the Apex. So obviously they're going to rematch as the main event at UFC Oklahoma City, which is I say that as a joke, but then I think about it, I'm like, that will probably happen at some point.
Casey, clip this. Clip this for his prophetic visions in 2026.
I guess Roman Dolidze keeps winning. His last fight was at middleweight. Was
Kevin
that
Holland.
the Kevin Holland one? I was also at that fight, and then before that, it was the bump up to light heavyweight where he beat Anthony Smith. So I guess he's on a bit of a run since he lost to Nasruddin Imavov, and that was kind of a weird, wonky fight too. And Nasruddin Imavov, that loss has aged pretty well because he seems to be on a tear and probably within a win away from fighting for a title. And before that, it was the Marvin Vettori one. So I guess he keeps winning in a division where we need new title contenders. As Dricus du Plessis said, he's pretty much beat all the contenders already or former champions, and now he needs fresh matchups. So winning is obviously the most important thing in any sport. So I guess he just continues to push himself up towards the title. But I don't think he's within reaching. We're not going to be talking about Roman Dolidze possibly fighting for a title in 2025. That's for sure.
No, that seems pretty unlikely, though. Perhaps, things can always happen. Things get crazy because after the fight, he made a call out, and there are other individuals for our website who do a wonderful show called On to the Next One about, matchmaking following events. We aren't on that show, not something that we normally do, but let's kind of stretch outside our comfort zones because Roman Dolidze said, I deserve a top 5 guy. Only 2 dudes make sense. Israel Adesanya, Robert Whittaker, both former champions. I don't know where Izzy's at. I know that he says he still wants to compete, but coming off his most recent loss, I don't know what sort of his timeline is. How do you feel about those call-outs, Jose? Do you think that sort of makes sense for where Roman should go, or is he going to have to settle for something a little further down the line?
He's going to have to set up for something further down the line because I think Israel Adesanya is going to take some time off, rightfully so. He's kind of carried this division on his back for so long, and then he just suffered that TKO loss to Nasruddin Imavov. Imavov should be fighting Cabo Halio for the number 1 contender. Hamza Chimaev is probably going to fight Dricus du Plessis sometime this summer for the middleweight championship. Selfishly, I want to see Robert Whittaker fight Sean Strickland because Sean Strickland called Robert Whittaker a can. Robert Whittaker deserves, another former champion, 2 former champions fighting because neither of them have any sort of claim to fighting for the title at any point in time within the next several fights, so they can fight each other. So Roman Dolidze can just fight Jared Cannonier because they were supposed to fight in December 2023, but I believe Jared Cannonier hurt his ACL or MCL or meniscus or something, so that fight didn't happen. So might as well rebook it because they're both coming off wins, and that matchup has already happened, and everyone above them, Roman or Jared, has pretty much fought already. So there you have it, UFC. There's your main event for UFC. Where UFC Baltimore. There you go. That can be your main event.
I mean, that feels really like that's actually just an Apex card. So let's go
Probably.
Apex 112. That feels like the main event to it. And honestly, he should be happy if he gets that because there's a real world where Fluffy Hernandez jumps the Jared Cannonier line in front of him. Pretty tough to make headway at middleweight for Roman Dolidze, but credit to him on a good streak. We'll briefly acknowledge that he just cheated his ass off, and I say full credit to him because it's not cheating if they don't do anything about it. And Herb Dean had a really special performance in there tonight, stopping before the action of round 2, gives a hard warning. Michael Bisping then goes on a diatribe about it being a dumb rule. And immediately after that, Roman Dolidze pokes Marvin Vettori right in the eyes. No penalty. Herb just says, hey, man, remember when I just told you not to do that or it was going to be a problem? This time I really mean it. And that's all that ever happened. And Roman Dolidze went on to have a low blow, another arguable eye poke, and good on him because that's what you should be doing until the referees do their job. So Roman Dolidze now legitimately in the title conversation, I'll say, because for whatever your quibbles are about Marvin Vettori, he has been a top 10 fighter for some time. Roman Dolidze is there. Jose, a bunch of other stuff happened, and frankly, all of it was more.
It's actually a pretty good card.
I don't know if it's more interesting because it's meaningless, but it was
Yeah.
all a lot cooler than the main event because the main event was not particularly fun to watch. Your co-main event, Chidi and Njokuani, finishes Alizu Zaleski dos Santos with a really nasty knee in a pretty fun fight prior to that. Chidi comes out, kind of who missed weight on this one? Did Chidi
Chitty.
miss weight on this one? Chidi
Yeah.
missed weight. So gets because the other one is not how this happened. But a couple of fighters missed weight. Chidi missed weight. Didn't matter. Comes in, gets it done. Chidi and Njokuani with the weight miss also had to do a catchweight bout in his bout before this, but now on a 3-fight win streak at 172.5
Yeah.
pounds, I guess. How did you feel about the co-main event? We don't need to spend too much time on it, but pretty good performance from Chidi despite the weight issues.
Yeah, I always thought Chitty was just a supremely talented striker. I know he's kind of up there in age, but he was one of those fighters that once the UFC signed him, he came through the Contender Series, correct? Yeah, if I remember. I think I say
I
that.
think
I think I was actually.
Well, I
I
mean,
think I
also
was
just
actually at
everyone
that
came
one.
through Contender Series at this point.
No,
But
I actually think I was at the fight that he won the contract, which is even crazy. Like, it's just all blends together, guys. Every Apex, and he was a middleweight. Every middleweight that
I
fights
can't
in
believe
Apex
they
is
made him go
basically
through
the same
Contender
person.
Series.
That's what
looking
I'm
at this.
saying. He
That's
felt
insane.
it's a guy that, like, when he went through the Contender Series, like he does in Jacoby, you just kind of like, he's gonna get in. Like, he's really good. He's
You're like
better
12
than
fights in
almost.
Bellator.
Yeah, he's really good. I don't understand. He should just be signed right out of the gate anyway. He's got the name because his brother also fought in the UFC. I thought it was a no-brainer. He's always been a very, very fun striker and a very interesting interview, kind of a charismatic cat. I'm glad he's getting the shine. I wish he would get to fight in front of crowds a lot more often because he is a very exciting individual. Or not all the way in Singapore. I think I'm happy he's finding success, especially this late in his career, and he's finding new life at welterweight. He called for top 15. I don't think. I mean, here's
Never
the
happened.
problem. Here's the problem, which it's not a problem. The issue with Chidi and Njokuani is he's so fun to watch, but the 15th ranked welterweight in the UFC ranking is Michael Venom Page. Now, if you ask me to watch Chidi and Njokuani and Michael Venom Page in the UFC in 2025, I'm going to be like, Bellator closed. We don't need to see that anymore, but I'll still watch it. If you ask me if he wants to fight Vicente Luque, who's 14, I'll watch that fight. Carlos Prates already has a fight. Michael Morales already has a fight. So he's not going to get a top 15. I think you should fight Puna Soriano. I think that's a little fun little scrap. Soriano likes to thump. He's a Vegas boy for a middleweight
And he's
that
like
went down
sick
to welterweight.
at welterweight.
Yeah, they're both just monsters of welterweight now. So they're both like huge for this division. I think that's just a fun fight. Selfishly, I just want to see someone get thumped. That's what I want to see very badly.
Man,
I saw
didn't
someone
even
say
know.
Kevin. I saw someone say Kevin Holland. I'm like, you're just saying that because they're both long, lanky black men from Texas, but I'm also pretty sure they trained or are friends, so they're not going to fight.
Yeah, Puna's a really good call.
I really like that fight.
had not thought about that. That's some A+ work, and I think the right answer because he's just not getting a welterweight crack, particularly like having the weight issues. There's no incentive to do that for it, but nonetheless, good performance. And ZDS is not like the world's greatest fighter, but if you look at his resume, it's pretty. He's a good fighter, and he is pretty clearly, if you beat him, you are a very good fighter. Because the guys who beat him, Randy Brown, very good fighter. Muslim Salikov, very good fighter. Renat Fakhretdinov, no, it's a draw, but like very good fighter. So these are where we're at.
I wouldn't hate Randy Brown fighting Chidi either. That'd be a fun little scrap.
That would be good because Randy Brown's coming off the Brian Battle loss. So
yeah, and I think Brian Battle is gonna fight Oban Elliott, if I heard correctly.
Okay,
that's
like
not official or anything. That's just like this is what I heard from someone. I'm like, is that true or are you just saying that? But it made me think about that fight. I'm like, I like that fight.
So that is our co-main event. Like I said, we're not going to spend a lifetime on this, but a bunch of other things happen. Alexander Hernandez takes unanimous decision win over Kurt Holobaugh in a very fun, really, really fun scrap. I suspect that might win fight of the night as we get to bonuses coming on. Damone Blackshear overcomes sort of a tough opening to submit Cody Gibson with a Kimura. That's interesting because it was the second Kimura finish, back-to-back fights.
Yeah.
As Brinson Ribeiro submitted DR Nurgazai with a Kimura submission in the second round. Kevin Vallejos, my boy, looking exceptional against Choi Sung-woo or Sung-woo Choi as he's supposed to do. TKO finish in the first round. And your prelims, Waldo Cortez Acosta saves us 5 minutes by knocking out Ryan Spann just before the bell in the second round. Pretty nasty little KO for WCA, who is usually a decision merchant, so good for him. Soo Young Yu takes unanimous decision win over AJ Cunningham, where he ran shop for 15 minutes. Carlos Vera with one of the biggest upsets in UFC history, odds wise, knocks out and then submits Josias Musasa with a rear naked choke in the first round. Sam Hughes takes a split decision in a fun little scrap with Stephanie Luciano. I scored that fight for Luciano, but not a robbery, just a competitive fight. Andre Lima, my other boy, submits Daniel Barras with a rear naked choke in the third round of a fight he was putting work in. Probably could have been stopped between rounds, frankly. Priscilla Cachoeira, she going to be getting a bonus. I don't have bonuses in front of me yet. I will be astonished if she does not, as she floors Josiane Nunez with a uppercut in the first round. And opening the proceedings, my girl, Carly Judish, puts the mitts on Unessi Dubin for a head kick and then follow-up punches in the 100-second mark of the first. Jose, at some point, bonuses will drop and we'll play the bonus game. I guess we could play the bonus game right now, but also, what is the standout performance from the rest of this card? If we are talking about anything after this, what's it going to be?
I'm not going to say Carlos Vera because that's like a no-brainer, because that was, like you'd said, one of the biggest underdogs betting-wise in UFC history. But it wasn't like he wasn't a flash knockout. Like, he choked a dude out in the first round. That's very difficult to do in mixed martial arts, and he did it as such a massive underdog. So probably him in terms of like impressive, but like we talk about guys that are violent strikers or violent grounded pounds or just violent dudes overall, and it usually has to do with blood and guts or someone getting knocked out. Damon Blackshear is a very violent grappler. Like, that dude, he gets on top of you or gets whatever he does, it's just looks so uncomfortable to watch. Like, you're just getting big brothered by a man, and you in front of the entire world, and there's nothing you can do about it. And all of his wins are like Kimura in the first round, or like rear naked choke in the first round, or getting a freaking twister in the UFC. And then I think his only losses are to Montel Jackson, Brad Katona, and Farad, one of the Basharat brothers. I think it's Farid Basharat, who are, and all three of those fighters, Brad Katona, was it Brad Katona? No, Mario Bautista. Maybe it was Mario Bautista. Yeah, he definitely lost to Mario Bautista in Boston. I was there. I'm dumb.
He did lose to Mario Bautista
because I was there. Brad Katona beat Cody Gibson, or the guy that he beat. So silly me. Montel Jackson has the biggest hands in the world, and Mike Heck has long been saying he deserves a shot at the top 7, top 10. So he's only losing to the best of the best, and when he's winning, it's incredibly violent grappling, and I love to watch it. He's a guy that I have circled. Like, I don't care who he fights next, I'm going to pay attention, and I hope it's in front of a crowd, because his grappling and submissions and just ground game overall is so fun to watch. It's like watching a high-level striker just piece a dude up, except it's a grown man just botting another man on the canvas.
Dude, he was hitting some tricky shit that I just didn't understand. So like, he threw in like a Darce grip, like an anaconda grip, while Cody Gibson was like back to the mat. I was like, how are you even doing? Like, I don't know what's going on right now. And just using that to pull a reversal. I did not understand some of the shit he was doing.
I can't imagine it's very fun to like roll with him in camp. You're probably like, who wants to roll with Damon Blackshear? Everyone's like, not really. And then you throw in a blue belt and they just get eaten alive. Like, it just doesn't seem like an enjoyable experience.
Can't be fun. I'm going to throw a shout out to, I have a couple of boys on this one. I am more convinced than I've ever been that Kevin Vallejos is going to fight for a belt one day. Like, that dude is, he's 23 and insanely talented already. Like, again, I said this in the pre-build to this. Of all the people we've seen fight Jean Silva, that's the dude who gave him by far the toughest test. Yeah. And Jean Silva's fought like freaking hitters. So Sung-Woo Choi just had no chance. But Also, I've been super high on Andre Lima, and he just put the boot tips to Danny Barras.
Yeah.
Like that was a real tough fight for Danny Barras in there. So honestly, pretty fun little evening, right? Like, won't speak too much about it. Do we have bonuses yet? Let me see if we have bonuses. I see no bonuses. So, Casey, we're done talking about this card. When the bonuses come, we can play the bonuses game, but get on in here.
Do you know what his who's the guy you were just talking about? I just completely
Andre
my
Lima?
mind. Yeah.
Lima.
Nope. One before that.
Oh, Kevin Vallejos?
Yes. Do you know what his gym's name is? You know the gym he trains out of's name is?
Ooh, when you say it, I will, but nothing off the top of my head.
It's Brothers of Life.
Okay, I didn't actually know that at all. Then. That's
Brothers of
incredible.
Life MMA. That's their gym name. I'm just like, what the most Argentinian name
Dude.
for a gym of all time? Because
gonna be the next
everything they
Fighting
do
Nerds.
is flowery and dramatic.
It's gonna be the next Fighting Nerds. Just wait.
Brothers of Life gym.
Oh man, he's so freaking fun,
You-
guys.
He's
Like,
great.
I love that guy.
You were correct. You were correct, and you hyped him up a lot. And I wasn't really familiar with him, and he looked gosh darn good. And
Dude, I loved him on Contender Series 2 years ago because the John Silva fight is legitimately like one of the best Contender Series fights I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really like this John Silva guy, and that dude's 22. And like, then he came back and just beat the shit out of the dude. I was like, oh, that dude's good. He's gonna be good. He might be a little small at featherweight. Like, he's not super undersized, but I mean, Troy was 7 feet taller than him, but you know, he's like
Troy-
5'7" or whatever. So
yeah,
he-
5'7". If you're muscular, that's fine for a featherweight. And Troy's a tall, slender featherweight, so I think
Yeah.
he looked fine in there. So
he will never be the bigger man in a fight at featherweight, but I don't know if he needs to because dude's got saucy mitts.
yeah, he
It was
very
sick.
saucy. Yeah,
So guys, this is the part of the show where you ask questions and we answer them for a little bit. And then we get out of here and we wrap up this evening and move on to a really good card in UFC London next week. So you know the deal, super chats get priority. Otherwise, we'll chat around for a bit. At some point, bonuses will come in. Before we get to the super chat and while we wait on bonuses, Jose, throw out what do you think the bonuses are going to happen? Let's play the bonus game right now, and then we can get to that as we get the answer.
Priscilla Cachoeira.
It's 100% got to be.
If they
There's not a
give-
world she's not getting one.
If they give,
it should be 4 for performance bonuses. I hope.
yeah, I was gonna say if they give
I
a
think
fight
so.
night, it'd probably be Hernandez Holloway, but I doubt it. So I'd give it to the two ladies that kicked the card off. So Carly and Priscilla, probably Kevin Vallejos, and honestly, probably Damon Blackshear, just because Chitty missed weight, he can't get it. Bronson Rivero missed weight, he can't get it. It's probably those four, right?
I think Cachoeira is
Two-
100%. There's just a lock for Cachoeira. There's just not
Yeah,
a
yeah.
world. I think Carlos Vera is going to get it. He's the biggest underdog of the year, and he knocked
Yeah,
out
that's
and
true, that's
submitted a
true.
dude,
Oh,
which is pretty cool.
I hope he gets it. Yeah.
I hope he deserves it. He knocked out and submitted a dude. You should always get a bonus when you beat them both ways functionally.
Big underdog. Too,
I
yeah.
would give it to Mon Blackshear because that's really cool, and I'd give it to Rivero too because I just didn't think that was going to happen. Because like you don't ever get it from there, and it's like, oh, I was like, that's not a real thing, and then suddenly, oh no, he's actually going to tap him with this. So I'd give it to those. Sorry, Crispy Carly Judice, but you got to win finally in the octagon. It's your first time winning in the octagon because you lost on Contender Series 2. So take that as solace. And now, Casey, now we can go to the questions. And at some point, we will find out whether that's true. Oh, we got them. And correct. We are correct. There are 4 performance bonuses.
Good job.
And they go to, wow, okay, mixed bag here. Of course, Priscilla Cachoeira gets it. Andre Lima gets one for his submission win and beatdown of Denny Barres. Carly Judice, who opened the show, does get one for her head kick finish. And Carlos Vera closes it out with one for his head kick into submission finish as well. So fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Wait,
Sucks for Damone.
so Vera was the only submission that got it all the rest were knockouts.
Correct.
Yeah, but UFC they really try their best not to give submissions bonuses. So
No, Lima got a submission. Lima choked him out.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So
All
it's,
right.
it's 50-50. So
All right.
two apiece.
So the 2 women at the start of the card, and then
The first 3 fights of the card,
first 3 fights.
and then 4 of the first 5. The Sam Hughes, Stephanie Luciano was the breaker. Otherwise, 4 of the first 5 bouts gave us performance bonuses, which can't be a thing that happens all that often.
Yeah, that's very rare. It's very rare. Yeah, I guess Vallejos didn't get one just because he was such a favorite, I would assume.
Almost certainly. I don't think he needed to get one. Yeah, that was cool, but he was a minus 600 favorite. That's what he's supposed to do. He just did it.
All right.
All right, let's go to the peeps. We'll go for a little bit. Congratulations, everybody got 50K. I hope you never beg for money again. That'd be great. John Miller, Jed, climb drama, early round 3, Dolidze. For those of you who don't know, I have a gambling gimmick called the Climb. I'm trying to string together 30 consecutive bets. I'm on bet 12. This week it was the over 2.5. And apparently Marvin Vettori and Roman Dolidze tried to ruin that in the 3rd round. I say apparently because a lot of people tweeted and hit me up about this. How worried were you? And my answer, my God's honest truth answer was not at all. It's Marvin Vettori. If Roman Dolidze had hurt Vettori, I would have been a little spooked. I was like, yeah, Marvin Vettori's not going to finish this fight. It's fine. And he didn't. So it was terrific. I just had no concern that was going to happen. I probably should have been more scared, but
you should have been scared.
Marvin Vettori.
Wait, now, and you scored that round a 10-8? Is that correct?
Nothing else happened in that whole fight that was interesting.
Okay, just wait. So wait, you didn't actually say the score of the fight. How did you score the main event?
Oh, I had it a draw.
Yeah,
the official MMA Fighting Live.
I want that out there.
Yeah, I gave the 1st and the 3rd rounds to Vettori, and I gave him a 10-8. I'm not willing to die on this hill, by the way, guys. I'm fine if you. It does not matter to me whatsoever. I thought Dolidze won rounds 2, 4, and 5. If you wanted to score round 1 for Dolidze, I don't think that's wrong either. I scored it for Vettori, scored the 3rd for Vettori, and I thought that he, did something substantive and truly damaging, and so that's worth more than just 1 point to me.
Did the better fighter though win the fight?
Oh, I have no issue with Roman winning. If someone's going to win that fight, it should be Roman.
Okay, because I know round scores are kind of different because round scores are stupid, but I was just wondering. Sorry.
Roman won that more than comfortable with him winning. I also knew that no one was going to do that, and that's fine. And I think 3-2 Roman is probably the correct score. But if you want to give it 4-1 Roman, that's fine too. I don't think there's a universe where Marvin wins that fight.
Yeah. And real quick, just before we go off the main event, because I'm interested in your opinion on it. Is the Marvin Vettori era as a top 10 middleweight, is that done?
I don't know. Probably. The thing is, he's still super young. He's 31. And he has a superpower, which is really important, in that he just can't be hurt. Roman hit the shit out of him with a bunch of stuff. And Marvin was just that's fine. I'll keep coming forward. And so I just think the division's getting better, and he is clearly not improving whatsoever. And so that he's probably going to just slowly kind of drop down the rankings and just be himself. And Marvin Vettori got to fight for a title once. I don't think that that's something you should have expected from his career at any point in time, and he did it. Good on him. He probably is an overachiever.
Oh, without a doubt. But I'm just kind of curious where we see Marvin Vettori in the grander scheme of things. But
he should fight Brandon Allen next.
Don't hate that at all.
They fought once on a casino floor. They should fight in an octagon.
Yeah, don't hate that at all.
They're both coming off losses.
I think he's going to end up fighting the winner of Bo Nickel RDR.
The winner?
But
okay.
I think that's where he's going to end up. But I wouldn't hate the Brandon Allen matchup whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, I see Vettori kind of being that top 10 kind of gatekeeper, Yeah. If you want to eventually fight for a title, you got to beat Marvin Vettori. So, all right.
Yeah, he is going to move seamlessly into this part of his career to be the Jack Hermanson, and that makes sense. I think that that's what he's destined to be.
All right. Cool. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Thanks,
Got a few.
John.
Some other super chats. Oh, super chat from John talking about the big upsets this year.
Barcelos, UFC 311 plus 850. Biggest. Was Barcelos that big a dog?
Yeah, he
I
was
don't-
gigantic, dog, against Payton.
I don't remember that, but let me. Oh, he was because Peyton was like minus 900 or something. Yeah, it's plus 710. I mean, that'll depend. That number will have fluctuated, but at close, looking at 710. Yeah, that's because that is one of the top 10. So this is not as big as that, but we're still talking like a top 15 upset.
No, another
Like, mathematically.
big bantamweight upset though. It's all right.
The thing is, we got a bunch of those last year across various weight classes. We're just going to get more of them as the UFC keeps bringing in like hot shot prospects who are unproven, because like that's what this was too. It's like, yeah, that guy's got like, he also has potential, but he's also fought 8 times, and sometimes you slip on a banana peel. That's just how it goes. So we're going to get more of them, but it's still cool every time it happens.
Yeah, this line, the Barcelos line was crazy because we kind of know how good Barcelos is, and
Barcelos
he's
is a good
always a
fighter,
tough
yeah.
out. Carlos Vera, he's nice guy, but
Wow, nice guy. You just got nice guy. Come on. No, but yes, Honey Barcelos is obviously much more accomplished than Carlos Ferrer
that's
is. But Peyton Talbot had just all the juice in the world behind him, and still is going to be really good. Just sometimes these happen.
Yeah, they happen. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Thanks, John.
More super chats. Another thing from Worship.
Worship, call it like it is. Are the young prospects just bad? No, they're young prospects. Some of them like won't work out because that's how prospects go. But like, I don't know. Jose, it feels ridiculous to just be like, hey, all these super young, or not even all of them, many of them won today. But like some of the young dudes lost. Should we throw them all out as useless?
No, because when you could have a prospect, you could have like 7 prospects win impressive fights, and the second one of them loses, they're like, oh, prospects are terrible. Because like if you look at the last few pay-per-views, outside of the Payton Talbot loss, there's a lot of new names. Like literally last weekend, Mauricio Rufy head kicked King Green. Ignacio Bahamondes choked out Jalen Turner. Like, those are the definition of 2 prospects fighting the definition of 2 vets. One of them, Payton Talbot, lost, but if you watch Payton Talbot's video, a bunch of bantamweights said no to Payton Talbot. Hanny Barcelos was the only one that said yes. Payton Talbot was like, wasn't even the fight I wanted. And after he goes, that dude is just a better wrestler than me. Now I just got to strap on the singlet and get better. So sometimes, and he said, to his credit, Payton was like, I'm glad this happened now rather than later in my career. Sometimes you need to lose to learn. Win or learn. I think Pete Carroll said that.
Yeah, he definitely said that.
That's a Pete Carroll one.
The classic Irish phrase.
Win or learn. Payton also said Payton also said he got wicked vertigo for like days after that Hani fight. Because he was just on his head. He was just like being controlled on his head the entire fight. That's why if you watch that fight, he can't stand up right away because he had wicked vertigo. He has to go to the hospital and everything.
All right.
Yeah, prospects just lose because that's how fighting works.
It happens, dog. Not everyone.
When you fight people, like it's literally why we like to watch the sport, is because anything can happen in a fist fight, and sometimes.
And when prospects lose, that's okay, because I was watching one card and a certain prospect got knocked out by Martins, and then the guy wound up becoming Islam freaking Makhachev, So
yeah, that's right. Islam Makhachev got sent to the shadow realm by a dude named Adrian Martins.
Yeah.
And he hasn't lost since.
Undefeated prospect John Jones lost to Vet and Matt Hamill. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, unless you're named Habib, you lose. It's just what happens.
That's just how it goes.
Famously, has never lost.
No, never lost. So change your name to Habib. Otherwise, give them some break. Most of these are young kids. And also, bunch of prospects showed out. Carly Judice, Andre Lima are sick. Kevin Vallejos, they're all like under 25 and sick prospects.
Like they're not even like fully grown humans yet.
Yeah.
They're literally still becoming bigger people. Okay.
They would need one of the three of us to go rent them a car.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, yes. That is true. Which is wild. Also, on the Andre Lima thing, I'm so excited about flyweight in like 3 years. There are so many great flyweight prospects right now. Like Josh Van, Ray Cerruti, I know they just fought, but like they're both 23 and 22 or whatever.
Tyra.
Lima's like 24. Tyra. Next week, Lonnie Kavanaugh is like 25 and fighting.
Josh Van and Tyra were scheduled to fight at one point too, which is wild.
Dude, there's so many incredibly talented flyweights coming down the pipe right now. Like flyweight's going to be what bantamweight is now in like 3 years. Where people are just like, oh, everybody is amazing. It's like, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, 1 through 15 are like, yeah, they're all good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a couple more.
Thanks, Warship.
I like this one from the Calibrator.
Calibrator, is Waldo finally cleared from the slander list? No.
What?
No. I'm super happy he knocked out Ryan Spann. Jose, heavyweights, they're bad. How nice was it for Waldo Cortez Acosta to finish Ryan Spann? Do you have any thoughts on Salsa Boy, who is a top 15 heavyweight in the world?
No. He's knocked out a light heavyweight.
6-1 inside the octagon. The lone loss coming to Marcos Rogerio Lima,
who just popped.
I mean, talking about one of the 15 best heavyweights in the world.
Yeah. Neat. He can go fight Gaziv in an Apex main event next. And
that's probably a thing. That sounds all right.
Or tied to Ivasa. Fuck, why not, right?
He did call for either Derek Lewis or Tai Tuivasa, which honestly probably deserves. I use the word deserve very loosely here, but he is on like one of the better win streaks in the weight class.
Yeah.
And, credit to him. He got a finish, which is not a thing that he does.
It was pretty vicious, too. It was
he did the shit out of him. Mostly that's credit to Ryan Spann, because I've watched Waldo Cortez Acosta fight, and he doesn't do that. Ryan Spann does lose in spectacular fashion, though. So I'm going to say that that's more Ryan Spann accomplishment than it is a WCA accomplishment.
I miss the news, but why was Ryan Spann at heavyweight? Was this just something?
Just trying something new.
Okay. Yeah, he did not. Are we in agreement that, I mean, I know we lost, but even he looked bad in that loss, right? Ryan Spann at heavyweight.
Ryan Spann looks bad in every loss.
I know, but I'm just saying.
He also knows how to win really impressively too.
He is a boom or bust fighter in a way that I look forward to Ryan Spann fights because something is going to happen. Yes, like something wild. The only kind of weird one was the Anthony Smith fight, where like the rematch, where it was odd and washed Anthony Smith, just like edged one out over him. But like, mostly he's a get got dude. So. He's on a tough run. I don't know if he'll get his walking papers. I think not, but
no, I don't think so.
It's not like he was undersized at heavyweight, so let him try again. He just ran up against a top 15 guy.
Top 15.
I mean, he beat Ovin St. Preux in Salt Lake, and Ovin St. Preux has gone up and down between heavyweight and light heavyweight as well. So he basically is 1-1 at heavyweight.
What I'm hearing from Jose is he thinks that what this sport needs is a cruiserweight division. Something between 205 and heavyweight for the guys like Ryan Spann and Ovin St. Preux. Just the tween. We could give John Jones another title. He can be the champion of that weight class too.
Why not?
Thank you, Calibrator.
Thanks, Calibrator. Mr. Senor Pepe. Jed went 11-12 on my parlay. Vettori lost. I'm broken. That's brutal. Oh, it's brutal. If Vettori could hit people with any amount of power, you would have won, and the climb would be
It's
dead.
crazy, because the Marvin Vettori Paulo Costa fight is an underrated banger. That fight is really fun. And for some reason, and then Marvin Vettori just got the shit kicked out of him by Jarek Cannonier, and that fight was really fun to watch because he never went down.
He's got the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, but like it was just impressive to see a human
Yeah.
being basically get hit with a bat for 25 minutes and keep walking forward.
Marvin
Just
Vettori,
such
when
an
he's getting his
interesting
ass beat, is fun. When he's not, he's awful.
You know, didn't he forget his cup going?
Yeah.
to his
Now,
kids,
oh my God, what a pull! I've never seen this before. He gets out there and they're like, "You don't have a cup," and so he walks back behind a curtain to get the cup inserted. I've never seen this happen.
Tell you what, man, Marvin Vettori continues to be an interesting man.
Interesting, yeah.
Interesting is a good word. Also, he wanted that cup because he took a low blow that would have been real
true.
bad. As Roman was like, "I didn't do anything," and the Reaper was like, "You just punted him right down the pipe."
Honestly, I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, I can understand the mouthpiece. You guys forgetting the mouthpiece. I get that. You know,
But you forget a cup? I have no idea, dude.
A cup, because you fill the cup the whole. I mean, you're warming up, you're rolling in the back. You're like you.
Apparently not.
I don't get it.
But he don't know. absolute ridiculous. But credit to him. Thanks, Mr. Senor Pepe. I'm really sorry for you. That's unfortunate.
Man, by the way, though, like, congratulations, 11 for 12 is amazing for you.
11 or 12 is really good.
Our staff, we did horrible.
Remotely that.
We did our entire out of 13 fights. The best anyone on the staff did was 7 correct. We all went.
Hey, that was me. I got 7 right. I was just looking at my list.
Yeah, you got 7 right. Yeah, we all either got 7 or 6.
Bad.
We could have flipped a coin and we got the same.
Yeah,
so
would have been just as good.
One of those cards
wasn't terrific.
Yeah.
But so 11 and 12, that's a good run. It's really a shame that Vettori ruined it.
But, yeah. Vettori.
RS40. Not about this card, but how will you remember the lightweight top 5 guys when they retire? Seems like they're levels above the next upcoming class. So this has been, Luke Thomas has been on this corner this past week after Gaethje beat Fiziev again at 313, where he is, I think, correctly pointed out that, like, this sort of crop of the top lightweight dudes that is at the end of its run is something really, really special, because the Dustin Poiriers, the, Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira's, they should have been moved on by now. Like, the new breed should have come and removed them, and it's just not happening. And that basically never happens. I functionally echo almost everything Luke has said in this, but Jose, kind of, is this, like, is Luke right? Am I right? Is this something like that's unprecedented, or can we expect, like, the future lightweights guy?
Lightweight right now is just what light heavyweight was in, like, the early 2000s when you had Rampage, Chuck,
really
Tito, Randy Couture, even Anderson Silva would pop up. Forrest Griffin was doing the damn thing. Like, light heavyweight was at one point in time the best division in all of MMA, and then they all retired or moved on to other promotions, and it happened. All of a sudden, lightweight became electric because you had the introduction of like Eddie Alvarez and Michael Chandler doing their things over at Bellator. The UFC absorbed the WEC, and they introduced Anthony Pettis and Benson Henderson. Right around the time Frankie Edgar and Gray Maynard were doing the damn thing, Clay Guida was still way up there. BJ Penn was still a huge name, and yeah, he lost to Frankie Edgar twice, but he was still just an absolute monster in the cage. It happens. Like, once these guys retire, I don't think there will be as drastic a fall off, because that light heavyweight is arguably the worst division of a men's weight class in terms of, like, top 15 talent. Like, yeah, the top is really exciting. Alex Pereira's fun. Yuri Prohaska is a psychopath. Jamal Hill can knock a fool out when he wants to, and Khalil Roundtree, if he gets in the top 5, is also fun. But it's just gonna, like, what light heavyweight became, lightweight will become, and then bantamweight will just become the premier division, because, again, the top of the bantamweight division is, like, those top 5 right there are going to be the same thing. It's just going to be an extremely fun division 10 years from now. We're going to have the same conversation. For all we know, it's going to be welterweight or flyweight, just how MMA is. But I also don't think there's going to be as big of a drop off because, like I said, you got Rufi, you got Ignacio Bahamondes. I mean, Usman Nurmagomedov could come into the UFC and have all kinds of fun matchups. I don't know if Fizie's going to go to featherweight, but he's still fun. I know he's on a 2-fight losing streak. But Benoit Saint-Denis is still a really exciting fighter. Joel Alvarez is doing his thing. I think who is it?
Hell yeah,
Is it Lodovit Klein? Is he?
Ludwig
He's
Klein.
top. Lodovit
Yeah.
Klein, Elvis Brenner. Like, there's
So
a
you got-
lot of
Got Paul Hughes
really
still out there.
Paul Hughes is
Yeah.
Paul
AJ
Hughes out
McKee.
there.
You know,
It's
a lot of good
not
fighters.
going to be as big of a like light heavyweight became awful. Like, we can all agree, it's like one of the worst divisions in MMA in terms of like
Correct.
top 15 talent. The top
Correct.
5 retire, and even look at the Sydney card. The 2 Australian guys, Peter Quinlan and
Crute. Is it Crute?
no, Nolan, Tom Nolan, whatever his name.
Tom Nolan. Big Tom.
Tom Nolan. Those are like sub 25-year-old lightweights too that just had incredibly impressive wins. Like, and they're from Australia. They're going to be setting the world on fire soon. Ilia Topuria just joined the lightweight division for as long as that's going to last. So, is this pentagon of violence at the top 5 of lightweight the most exciting top 5 ever? I will listen to that argument and I will not argue against you. They're going to retire, and we're just going to find, like, 3 years from now, like, Rufi, Ignacio Bahamondes could be a lightweight title fight. And that fight would rule. It just happens. They're undefeated. Like, they're both so tall. They're both so exciting. They're both super dynamic. I think lightweight will be fine. It won't be as severe of a drop-off as light heavyweight was.
I hadn't thought about the light heavyweight comp. I think it's really good because Shogun Rua was not Shogun Rua for like the last 7 years of his career.
We just went on this mad rant. We didn't even bring up Patty Pimblett.
Dan Henderson. Sorry.
Dan Henderson. We didn't even bring up Patty Pimblett, who's like about to fight Michael Chandler, and like will be fine. Lightweight will be fine. It is a special time in terms of violence, but in terms of exciting fights, we'll be fine.
Yeah, I do think it is a special time just in terms of like, I don't think that this next crop will be able to replicate just the tenure, but I guess we'll also see, right? Like that's that's sort of how that goes.
What division could do that right now? None of them. Like if
Yeah.
the top 5 retired, or is there all of a sudden another, like flyweight, I think in a few years could be. Bantamweight is very exciting, obviously. But outside of that, like if the top 5 at welterweight all retired, or middleweight, or heavyweight, like it's there's no weight class that could do this besides lightweight.
Like the middleweight is like the best of just be like, how long can like Izzy and Whitaker hold?
In terms of longevity,
ground? Yeah, like just hold their ground as top 5 dudes, because this would be the spot where it's like Gaethje and Poirier like should have dropped off, but they're just not. It's like, okay, I'll fight a Benoit Saint-Denis and I'll whoop his ass. But yeah, man, look, Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, these are special fighters, and you should enjoy the hell out of them because you got to live in the time of the 4 kings of fucking violence in this sport. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and who knows how Holloway's going to play in all this, too. We have no idea how that's going to play out, too. That could, pretty fun.
Yeah. Dude, Holloway and Poirier could come in and wreck shit at lightweight for the next 7 years or whatever. Like,
Armin
Sarukian.
Oh, yeah, Armin Sarukian.
He's not even 30.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be fine. We will be fine. Also, like, lightweight more than any other weight class, like, Drew Dober is not a top 15 lightweight in the rank. He could, like, I'm not talking skill-wise, because, like, there's Grant Dawson, I know, is in the top 15 of the UFC lightweight. I would favor Grant Dawson, but if Drew Dober went out there and knocked out Grant Dawson, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, major upset. Like, Drew Dober is an awesome fighter, and I'm never going to not watch a Drew Dober fight. Joel Alvarez is not in the top 15. I'm never not going to watch a Joel Alvarez fight.
Oh, he's like, in the top 15 now.
Is he? Well, like, these are fun fights.
Oh, no, they dropped him for Bahamondes after Bahamondes beat Jalen.
Well, that was super. Like, again, Bahamondes. I mean,
that's fine, but he was in the top. He was at 15 for like a hot minute.
Like, well, the lightweight division is in good hands, and everyone I just said is like a kook, like a character, like just kooky people.
Yeah, the only thing I wonder is with this kind of new modern UFC, I have no doubt the talent will be there. They're just as good.
They'll never be as popular.
But the popularity and the star power, something that's different. That's
almost certainly won't be.
Yeah, I can't really. Yeah,
the problem is
that's fine.
Well, it's not a problem. I take that back. It's absolutely not a problem because like everyone in that top 5, a lot of them are like there's a lot of Americans that are very popular, but like Ignacio Bohemanes is super popular, like back in Latin America. Benoit Saint-Denis is super popular in France. Like if they could have big pay-per-views in these countries and just make these guys superstars rather than having Benoit Saint-Denis fight in Abu Dhabi or wherever, like it will be a fun time.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Lightweight's going to be in good hands, but yeah. Good question, RS40. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, RS40. All right. What else we got here? This one's for Jose.
Jose. To Jose, I need some more comic book recs because I got a new bookcase to fill. Last time you recommended Day Tripper in Berlin. Both great, by the way.
Day Tripper in Berlin. What else could you read? You should read. I'm literally just looking at my shelf right now. All right. You should read Blankets and Habibi by Craig Thompson, and then you'll
Both
cry.
of those are good, and I can
should
back
read
those.
Stereo Polyps by David Mazzucchelli, which is also tattooed on my body. One of the greatest things you'll ever read. Duncan the Wonder Dog is the greatest graphic novel I've ever read in my entire life. The problem is there's never going to be a second volume, so if you don't like cliffhangers, don't read that. The Sculptor will mess you up for sure.
Yep.
8 Ball, anything by Daniel Clowes, anything by the Hernandez Brothers, specifically Love and Rockets. I recently reread Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, which is a masterpiece. I reread his Miracle Man, which is just absolutely brutal. And those are the ones I would recommend off the top of my head. I went to the independent comic convention in New York City today, and that was a lot of fun. I spent way too much money on books that I didn't need. But yeah, those. Oh, and Footnotes in Gaza by Joe Sacco, who is the greatest journalistic comic book writer of all time. Add that to near the top of the list. Though I would do those. And if you want like series, Fables is good. Hellblazer is good.
Fables rocks.
Let me rephrase. The first, I want to say 35 volumes of Fables is very good, and then it got just weird.
The first half, like the first story arc of Fables, is insane.
Blood of the Virgin was really good from 2023. Anything by Daniel Clowes, any of the Black Sads, anything by Adrian Tomine, anything by Nate Powell. Oh, Top 10 by Alan Moore. That's a weird. You could pump those out in a weekend. Those are a lot of fun. Again, I have way too many recommendations.
I read Sculptor on Jose's recommendation list. Very good. I read Blankets in college. Good. Craig Thompson's just good.
He has a new book coming out, Ginseng Roots, at the end of April.
Habibi, also read that at your recommendation. That's good.
I have all those tattooed on my body. Yeah, those are mine.
And yeah, Fables is like probably my favorite comic book series of all
time. I went to the comic convention today. I went to a panel of Jaime Hernandez, Charles Burns. Oh, Black Hole by Charles Burns. That's another one. Charles Burns and
Black Hole is
Adrian,
fucking wild shit.
It was Charles Burns, Jaime Hernandez, and Adrian Tomine doing a panel. I'm like, this is so weird that like 3 of the 4 greatest independent comic book writers are all sitting in front of me. The only one missing was Daniel Clowes, but it was like a trip to see all of them just interacting with each other. It was very strange.
Black Hole is, I think, the most uncomfortable book I've ever read. Like it was just uncomfortable to look at the art of that book.
But it's very important.
Yeah, it was great. I was just like, it made me physically uncomfortable to watch.
And I was at this lecture and Charles Burns, and I'm just tangent on the comic books right now. Charles Burns like discussing like the difference in like brushes he uses and why he doesn't use cross hatching for like shadowing. And I'm just like, this is so interesting. My girlfriend is just next to me, just out cold. It was very funny. I was like, and I was like,
I bet you would like
am I a
Black
nerd?
Hole a lot.
Am I a nerd?
What is it called again?
Black Hole. I bet you would like Black Hole a lot.
All right,
that just feels like that would be right up your alley.
Is that the one that made you feel uncomfortable reading?
Yeah, and honestly, it was not that dissimilar to the feeling I had watching The Substance, which was a very good film that I was just deeply uncomfortable watching.
There was today. Let me put it this way, Casey. There was a whole part of the lecture where the moderator had Charles Burns explain his artistic choice and how he draws rotting flesh.
I genuinely think you should read Black Hole, Casey. You would really like it.
That sounds great.
I read it in college. It's really, it's very good.
Duncan the Wonder Dog, though. Done the one in the log, top of the list for up to answer Joseph Hall's question.
All right.
Well, thank you, Joseph Hall.
If you can find it, it's out of print.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Joseph. One more super chat. I'm not sure what this is about, but I'll put it up here anyway.
Oh, I saw this one. Yeah. Appreciate the hype, except from you, since Bryce Mitchell is your favorite featherweight. I'm assuming he's talking about you, Casey, as you
Me?
drafted Bryce Mitchell to your fantasy team.
I drafted him before I knew he was a Nazi. I just thought he was a flat earther. There's a big difference.
Well,
I don't want those dirty fantasy points.
Well,
Have
you may or may
mercy.
not get them. We'll see if
We'll see.
maybe Sean Silva wins. But thanks, Mr. Senor Pepe. I don't know. Okay, so let's get to a couple of non-super chats and let's get the hell out of here.
Also, not for nothing, but Senor Pepe is that meme frog, which is
Correct.
used as a symbol for the alt-right on 4chan. So that's very silly.
Yeah. I just want to put this one out there. 'Cause I disagree with it, but
Popson Gromance, or I think that's Popson Gromance. MMA fighting was wrong about this card. A lot of finishes and not boring. I strongly disagree with you, Popson. I don't think we ever said that this card was boring. I believe my exact quotes and the quotes of Mike Heck and others were, this card is bad on paper, which it was, that it could be fun, which it was, but it is meaningless, which it was. Arguably two meaningful things happened. That's if we're counting Waldo Cortez Acosta being a ranked fighter winning, and the main event, which nobody cares about. Yeah. Like we just will never talk about this card. But if you had nothing else to do tonight, you could just, there are worse ways to spend 6 hours.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking 6 hours of your life, and we saw two, if we're being positive, meaningful things. So, yeah.
We saw a couple Kimoras. There's worse things to do than watch people lock Kimoras on a Saturday night.
Double wrist
lock. Like if you just have this on, if you're like, man, I'm going to clean my apartment tonight.
Yes.
And I'll throw fights on while I do other things, and then I can just sort of keep up. There's rock solid stuff in that regard. But like, we don't have to pretend that we will ever speak about this card again after this show goes click. Actually, I guess that's a lie. We will probably talk about it on Between the Links, because we sort of always do that. And then that will be the last time any human being talks about this card.
And I will be on vacation.
Sure you will.
Nice.
I know, right?
Sky River Rain. You're a terrible person, Sky River Rain.
Oh, whatever.
This is most recent comment.
You jerk. I'm not even gonna put that on the screen. I'm not dignifying that. All right. And our last question, completely off topic because we've moved on from the card already.
Topic, Question for Jose: what's your favorite episode of King of the Hill? From David Sandine.
I like the Boggle episode from season 1. I really like when my favorite episode is when Bobby has to join the Christian youth group, but it turns out to be like they're all into like, it's like one of those like new age ones. So they're all into like rock, and they skateboard, and they throw Messiah Fest, and he joins a heavy metal Christian band. And that's when he's wearing the shirt that says Satan sucks. And his dad's like, you can't wear that shirt. It's a bad word. And he goes, which one? Satan or sucks? And he goes, well, both. And he goes, but why, Dad? Satan does suck. And then Dale comes in, he goes, yeah, what does your shirt say, Hank? Satan rules. And then Hank just looks absolutely like he doesn't know what to do because Satan does suck, but he doesn't want his son. It was a whole thing. And then they had the best line in King of the Hill history besides That's My Person, I Don't Know You, which is way up there too, where Hank is like, don't you see what you're doing? You're not making God better. You're making rock and roll worse. Which is so funny to me.
That is a really good line.
Which is so funny to me. That is my favorite episode. I watch that whenever I need to put on King of the Hill. It's usually what I put on because it's so good.
Have you seen my my Bobby Hill shirt? You've seen Jose.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
that one's good.
I don't know you. All right. Thank you.
What does your shirt say, Dad? Satan rules.
It's a great joke.
We are good. Oh, so
Oh,
good.
before we go, Casey has a little thing to do because
Yeah.
two of us are much loved by a great man, and one of us is not.
So, maybe a couple months ago, we had the wonderful hip hop artist Action Bronson on BTL, and he graciously sent me a gift box full of fun stuff. So I'm gonna open it right now for you. First up. Ooh.
Got
Hey.
look at them baklava New Balances.
Nice.
And they're
Nice
New
thing.
Balances, so you know they're comfortable as shit.
Comfortable as shit. Thank you, Action Bronson. That rules. And hold on. I think I got some. Oh no. Should have pre-ripped these.
Ooh, some shorts action.
There you go.
Ooh,
And
man.
what else I got here? Oh. Wow.
Oh man, I'm excited to open my box now because I have not yet. I got it today. I've not looked at anything.
Hell yeah.
The jacket? Ooh, a
Look at
hoodie?
that. The hoodie.
Sick.
Please hoodie.
Man.
Awesome. Yeah, I just want to show that off, and yeah, thank you so much, Action Bronson. You rule, and I think your fan Jose might want to.
Yeah, man. Of everyone on this website, I've listened to more Action Bronson than probably anyone in MMA media, and I say that with confidence. You are the only. I've told you this to your face, and you probably don't remember. You're the only one that has ever gotten a good verse out of Riff Raff. Bird on a Wire has been on my repeat since like 2012. I saw you play at the Marquee Theater in Tempe. You sat on a chair the entire time because you were still a little overweight at the time, and you shoved 2 blunts in your teeth and then kept yelling, "I'm a walrus." I remember that night vividly. You probably do not. I have
That's
seen you.
incredible.
I have seen you live twice, and even to cherry on top, we have the same birthday. I want some cool sneakers. Let's get it done.
That's an incredible bit. I am a walrus. I love that so much.
They're literally like 2 blunts right here. You're just like, I'm a walrus.
Like you used to do with chopsticks as a kid. With blunts.
I
It's an
want to say I
unbelievable
was like 21, maybe even 20 years old. Yeah, Burn on a Wire. Peak Riff Raff.
bit. Man, AB is just. There's some people you wonder how they get famous. I don't. With Action Bronson, I'm like, I get it. He's supposed to be famous.
I also really like when people say like, "Oh, what's your favorite Action Bronson song?" And I say, "I Hate Everything," and they go, "But don't you like him?" I go, "That's the name of the song, you idiot."
Terrific. Thank you all for joining us on this wonderful excursion into Action Bronson and comic books, and I guess some fist fights.
There were fights tonight.
There were. They happened, and now they're done, and we may never speak of them again. But you know what we will speak of? UFC London, because that's where we are on the road to. Former welterweight champion Leon Edwards taking on Sean Brady next Saturday. Y'all know the deal. We will have you locked in. Tune in on to the next one tomorrow. Mike and AK will have you with all the matchmaking. MMAfighting.com. It's a great website. It's got everything else you need. Jose Youngs, thank you for joining.
Peace.
EK Sliden, thank you for producing. All of you, thank you for tuning in. Love y'all.